were so many other plays where it felt like Asia was bullying other players on the Fever, and I want you to watch this play here with Lexi Hall. She's standing her ground, she's trying to down screen, and Asia just chucks her to the ground. Now, there was no whistle there, and you can see ref number 16 right there. He's watching the whole thing happen. No whistle. They just kind of let it go.
That right there. That's Aja Wilson, the league's MVP, chucking Lexi Hall to the ground with a referee watching just feet away. No call. Now keep that image burned into your mind and listen to what that same MVP had to say after the game was over. A special whistle. That's the story Aja Wilson and the Las Vegas Aces have been selling since the moment they lost Game 4. They want you to believe that Aliyah Boston and the Indiana Fever were gifted a trip to the free throw line by a biased crew, stealing a win from the two-time defending champs. They've painted themselves as the victims of a grand conspiracy. But for the narrative analysts watching, you know that the official story is almost never the real story. Today, we're going to expose that hypocrisy. We have the tape they don't want you to see, the uncalled fouls, the pattern of aggression, and the one comment from an injured player on the sidelines that proves this meltdown was never about the refs. It was about a champion team that simply couldn't handle getting punched in the mouth. This is the real story of how Sophie Cunningham exposed Aja Wilson's lie. We live for investigations that filter out the noise and expose the truth. If you believe the tape doesn't lie, show your support and smash that like button. It tells us you want more deep dives that the mainstream media is too afraid to touch. All right, let's connect the dots. To understand the hypocrisy, you first have to understand the official narrative the Aces manufactured. It all started in the post-game press conference. The numbers were ugly. The Fever shot 34 free throws to the Aces 11, and Coach Becky Hammond didn't even try to hide her disgust.
For Becky, certainly felt like a differently officiated game than other parts of the series. I think we had more defensive 3 seconds today than any other part of the playoffs. I just wonder how you felt about the overall flow of the game.
Well, they shot 34 free throws and we shot 11. Next question. I got to go back and look at the tape, but it seemed like there was a lot of grabbing and holding down there. That got called one way. Anything else? I did appreciate it was a little tighter called, but tighter on both ends would have been nice.
They shot 34 free throws, and we shot 11. Next question. That's not analysis. That's a declaration of war against the officials. She was drawing a line in the sand, creating a simple, easy-to-digest excuse for her team's loss. Her MVP followed her lead, taking direct aim at her on-court rival, Aliyah Boston, with that sarcastic special whistle austere comment. The message was clear: we didn't lose. We were cheated. That narrative is clean, simple, and for a frustrated fan base, it's incredibly effective. But as narrative analysts, our job is to ask the next question. Is it true? Was the 34-11 free throw disparity really a sign of a conspiracy? Or was it the predictable result of one team's strategy completely overwhelming the others? The truth is, the Fever didn't get to the line by chance, they earned it by design. Indiana's entire game plan was built around one simple concept: raw, relentless aggression in the paint. While Vegas was content to lean on jumpers, Indiana drove the ball, crashed the boards, and most importantly, they fed Aliyah Boston in the post over and over and over again. And when Boston was asked how she managed to dominate the MVP and get to the line 13 times, her answer wasn't about the refs. It was about her strategy. Let's break that down for a second. Earlier seals. That isn't just basketball jargon. It's the entire key to unlocking this controversy. By working to seal her defender before the ball was even passed, Boston was catching it just feet from the rim. From that position, a defender has two choices: give up an easy layup or foul. The Aces chose to foul. That's not favoritism. That's a team being punished for getting out-hustled and out-positioned. Indiana lived in the paint, Hirish, and in the game of basketball, the paint is where fouls happen. Simple as that. So, let me ask you all, is A'ja Wilson's complaint valid, or did Aliyah Boston's strategy simply expose the Aces' poor interior defense? Let us know your take in the comments below. But a smart game plan is only half of this story, because to truly understand the depth of the hypocrisy coming from the Aces' locker room, we have to filter out their complaints entirely and look at the evidence of their own on-court actions. We need to go back to the tape. The Aces want you to focus on the box score. They want you to get lost in the numbers, to see that 34-11 disparity, and feel a sense of injustice. But the real story, the one that exposes their entire narrative as a lie, isn't in the fouls that were called. It's in the ones that were completely ignored.
There were so many other plays where it felt like A'ja was bullying other players on the Fever, and I want you to watch this play here with Lexi Hall. She's standing her ground, she's trying to down screen, and A'ja just chucks her to the ground. Now, there was no whistle there, and you can see ref number 16 right there. He's watching the whole thing happen. No whistle. They just kind of let it go.
Let's watch that one more time. But this time, let's break it down. You're looking at Lexi Hall, who is simply trying to set a down screen, a routine basketball play. Now, watch A'ja Wilson's reaction. That isn't just fighting for position. That isn't just being physical. That is a blatant two-handed shove. She literally chucks a smaller player to the hardwood, and the referee is standing right there watching the whole thing happen. No whistle, play on. And this is the same player who had the nerve to sit down in front of a microphone after the game and sarcastically complain that Aliyah Boston was the one getting a special whistle. The hypocrisy is stunning. For 3 games, Fever fans and analysts had been pointing out a clear pattern. The Aces were being allowed to play a more physical brand of basketball, getting the benefit of the doubt on 50-50 calls, while Indiana was getting whistled for incidental contact. This clip, this one moment, is the smoking gun. It's the visual proof that validates what so many narrative analysts watching this series have been feeling all along. The whistle wasn't just imbalanced in Game 4, it was a correction for the imbalances in Games 1, 2, and 3. And it wasn't just the fans who knew it. While A'ja Wilson was crafting her victim narrative for the media, one of the Fever's own, sidelined by injury, decided she had seen enough. She picked up her phone and prepared to tell the world the truth. Enter Sophie Cunningham, a key guard for the Fever, sidelined for the season with a brutal MCL tear, forced to watch her team's incredible playoff run from the bench. She couldn't fight for rebounds or defend on the perimeter, but she still had a voice. And as she watched the media narrative being hijacked by the Aces' complaints, she used it. She went to social media and posted a simple, devastatingly honest message that cut right to the heart of the matter. She wrote, "And it's about damn time. I honestly thought the refs did a nice job today on both sides. Let's not brush past that. That is a player, an insider, publicly confirming everything we just saw on the tape. The phrase, 'and it's about damn time,' isn't a celebration of getting favorable calls. It's a declaration of relief that for the first time all series, the whistle felt balanced. It's a direct shot across the bow at the Aces' entire meltdown. While Wilson was complaining about a special whistle, Cunningham was confirming that the only thing special about Game 4 was that the whistle was finally fair. This is how she exposed the lie. It wasn't in a press conference or a polished interview. It was raw, unfiltered, and it was the truth from the trenches. It was the voice of a team that felt they had been battling not just the 2-time champs, but the officials as well. This simmering frustration, this belief that they were constantly on the wrong side of the whistle, is what fueled the Fever's desperation. It's why they played with such an edge. And when that relentless physical pressure from Indiana was finally met with a fairly called game, the combined force was too much for the defending champions to handle. The pressure cooker was officially boiling over, and it led directly to a catastrophic, unforced error from their Hall of Fame coach. It was the final 30 seconds of a brutal playoff game, The Fever were clinging to a lead, and the Aces needed a miracle. And that's when it happened. Becky Hammon, a champion coach, called a timeout that she didn't have. The result, a technical foul, a free throw for Indiana, and possession of the ball. It was a self-inflicted wound that ended the game.
I think for me, this from day one has just been a really special group. We've hit a lot of adversity collectively. I had some tough stuff that I was going through personally, and this group would just rallied around me, rally around each other. And truly do live the mantra of we over me. And it's just been a really, really special group. You don't always get these opportunities to coach groups like this, at the professional level especially. And I think because they're who they are as human beings, it allows us to continue to put one foot in front of the other.
That wasn't just a simple mistake, it was the final crack in the dam. It was the undeniable proof that the combination of Indiana's relentless pressure and a fairly called game had mentally broken the defending champs. They didn't just lose to the Fever, they lost to their own frustration. So when we filter out all the noise, the picture is perfectly clear. Aja Wilson's special whistle hut complaint was never about justice. It was a smokescreen designed to hide the truth. That right there. That's Aja Wilson, the league's MVP, chucking Lexi Hall to the ground with a referee watching just feet away. No call. Now keep that image burned into your mind and listen to what that same MVP had to say after the game was over. A special whistle. That's the story Aja Wilson and the Las Vegas Aces have been selling since the moment they lost Game 4. They want you to believe that Aliyah Boston and the Indiana Fever were gifted a trip to the free throw line by a biased crew, stealing a win from the two-time defending champs. They've painted themselves as the victims of a grand conspiracy. But for the narrative analysts watching, you know that the official story is almost never the real story. Today, we're going to expose that hypocrisy. We have the tape they don't want you to see, the uncalled fouls, the pattern of aggression, and the one comment from an injured player on the sidelines that proves this meltdown was never about the refs. It was about a champion team that simply couldn't handle getting punched in the mouth. This is the real story of how Sophie Cunningham exposed Aja Wilson's lie. We live for investigations that filter out the noise and expose the truth.